Every morning I come outside. First thing I see is my personal Amazon rainforest jungle. Seventh wonder of the world, number 1. This is the green puddle. We call it that because it's green. Number 2, we have the trash mountain. Number 3, we got the dirt pile. Number 5, we have the hole. Number 6, the forest of the weeds. This is gonna be no small task. And then I am number 7. Not like related to 9 or 11 or whoever off Stranger Things, but like I'm the 7th wonder of the world because I'm gonna be the one to come in and tear all this stuff down, and I have my reindeer pajama pants on with Santa hats and my Crocs. I don't have them in sport mode though. Let me fix that real quick. People broke onto my property last night and peed all over the area that I'm gonna work because it's way too wet to do anything. Actually, we got an 1.25 inch rain. I have a few announcements. $1 better now, $2 now, $2 better now, $3 now, $3 better now, $4 now, $4 better now, $5. Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna be auctioneering at the Farm Progress Show for the Iowa FFA Titan Tire donation. They're gonna be throwing in some tires. I'm gonna be auctioning them off. Never auctioneered before. I watched a couple YouTube videos on it, so I might as well be a pro now. But all those proceeds are going to go to the Iowa FFA. So I am actually going to be at the Farm Progress Show every day. Let me pull out the times. I'm going to be at the Titan Tire booth from 9 to 11 a.m. and 2 to 4 every day. If you're there on the right day, you might catch Daddy Cornstar. And if you're there on the right day, you might also catch Cooper. And I think Neva, Mama Cornstar, and Summer are also going to try to make appearances at some point. So if you're at the Farm Progress Show in Boone, Iowa this year, 2022, be sure to go to the Titan Tire booth and come find me and get a picture with me and a signature and give me $100. We've been seemingly MIA lately, and that's because we've been busy. So I need an editor. If anyone knows how to edit, send me your stuff. Email at the bottom of my description. I guess to start with the dirt bikes, this proves we haven't been doing anything. I have put 13.8 miles on my dirt bike, and I put it all on yesterday. Well, all but 2 of them, so 11.8 miles. That is a sprayer that is sitting and has done its job for the year, and I am beyond glad. I spent a lot of time in that thing. I spent like over 300 hours in the sprayer this year. So there's a lot of sitting there, a lot of children of the corn action going on. We need to do a really good clean out on this. We put some biologicals on with the sprayer this year, and they're like a black kind of substance, and it sticks to everything. Really difficult to get off. So we're gonna have to do a few power washings, a few scrubbings. Good job for Dad. This is Grandpa's bean field. This is one of the ones we're gonna call the program field. The one where we did that half, where we did a whole bunch of our spraying stuff, and then this half doesn't have anything on it. Now keep in mind, we're on the edge of the field right now. This gets a lot of sunlight because there's nothing blocking the light here. We got some bug action we can see. So this didn't have any insecticide sprayed on or anything, and this is what happens. The bugs get hungry, the grasshoppers, the Japanese beetles. I don't see any aphids on this one, but once again, we are on the edge of the field, so it's not true representation of the field. But check out these beans. Look at that. We got pods on pods on pods. Got 2 branches with pods all the way out to the end. Normally, we don't get that. And this is non-treated, so it's going to be really interesting to see the program side. But then our main stem, got a nice clustering. They're starting to fill out too. I would guess in probably a month, 4 weeks, we're gonna be starting beans into September. But if we rip into these things, like, there's an edamame in there. Oh boy. These are gonna be some big beans this year. We had really good rains, good weather in August this year. When you get good rains in August, it fills out the top part of the plant. So like here, this part, from here to here. And that can really set your top end yield, and we definitely had good rains in August, so I think we have pretty good potential for a nice soybean crop. I got a buttonweed for you. You want it? Oh, tú hablas español, ¿sí? Sí, el gato. Hola, amigo. ¿Cómo estás? ¿Qué tal? ¿Sí? Muy bien. Yo también. We're going to be setting up for harvest really soon. This is our grain dryer, so this is what we dry our grain with. We're going to try a higher moisture corn harvest this year, just sampling some different techniques with stuff. But before we can get our dryer set up, we have to get the conveyor that goes from the dryer over to the leg. Zach and Talon actually just built this one the other day. But this end piece, I guess, is wrong. They have the new one coming. It's supposed to be here in like 10 days, so we can't get the dryer set up because right now this is too low to this. So it won't fit because this is the wrong one. But then once we get that in, be able to slide the dryer over. I don't know what we need to do to the dryer. We're going to be running more bushels through this than probably what we would have ran in like 3 seasons before, just because we didn't have enough storage to hold all of our grain before like we do now. So basically now all of our corn's going to be going through the dryer. So hopefully the old gal holds up pretty good. It seems like it works well, but once again, it's going to be a lot more load on it than it's ever had. So we're just going to have to do a good run through on this, make sure all the burners are running good, bearings, belts, pulleys, chains, flighting, make sure there's no holes. At least we have a nice concrete pad to clean up our messes now. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Dad got rid of the anti-theft wheels? He got the new cracked 20 years ago 3000. The corn's also about a month away from harvest. Once again, we're at the edge of the field, so this is a little bit of a beat up area. Bugs and whatever get to it. We're actually right along the edge of the driveway. This is where we fill semis, so this is also a compacted area. But ears, I mean, they have a ways to go yet. Last time I talked to someone who did a moisture check, they said they were around 40%. So, I mean, they're just starting to kind of get that light dent to them. But they got nice weight. This is how big the ear will be. If anything, it'll get maybe a little smaller because it'll kind of shrink down as it dries. But, I mean, stuff's looking pretty good. You can kind of see we're getting a little bit of a line. So that's good. With the weather we're having right now, we want to make sure we continue to have good sunlight. I mean, that's out of our control, but they're talking, at least for the next 10 days, good sunlight. We just got good moisture. So the name of the game right now, we want to get these kernels, individual kernels, as heavy as possible. So by keeping this plant healthy and alive, with having this good sunlight, good rain. We're getting nutrients into the plant. The plant is thriving with the sunlight through photosynthesis. So we're packing on kernel weight right now. This is a fill period, so this is extremely important. Fill, heaviness of the corn, is one of the main 3 metrics of corn yield. Basically, we want to know how many kernels are going to be there, how many plants, and how heavy they are. And that's what determines our yield. Right now, if our whole field did this, that'd be pretty good. Insight-wise, I have nothing new to say. There's a lot I can't talk about. We have problems, we'll just put it that way. But what I can talk about, we're going to be pouring the sidewalk for our conveyor, and that's going to be coming through here. So hopefully later this week that will be poured, and then Zach and Talon will come out. They'll get the conveyor put together. Then during the winter time, when we're unloading the bins and selling corn, we won't have to be setting up augers or anything. It'll all be here. We just flip a switch on, or I guess press a button, and then we can fill everything from the front. As September rolls on, the plant is going to get more and more mature. The ears are going to dry down more and more. We're going to see the bottom of the plant. It's going to start to get brown, and it'll work its way up. And ideally, we'd like it to stop here before we get harvested, but it'll just keep going and going. Once we get a frost, the entire plant will turn brown because it'll be dead. But we're probably about 5 weeks away from harvest right now, I would say. And fun fact, corn usually just has 1 ear per plant, but since we're on the edge of the field right now, it gets more sunlight, there's less competition on this plant, so it has more resources. So here we have 2. Actually, there's a 3rd one starting right here. That one won't amount to anything. It looks like he died, but we got 2 nice ones on this plant. Plant beside it, this one's got 2. This one's got 2. So, most of them usually have 1 though. That one must have got bit by a bug or something. See that? So that'll end up just drying up and turn into nothing. So we lost a kernel there. Having a moment of silence. We've had this dryer probably 15 years maybe. It was actually my best friend growing up. It was on their farm. Then they got a new dryer. Then we ended up buying it. I think we bought it for $10,000. This thing's had a good amount of grain ran through it. Seeing how this year goes, it's going to kind of determine a lot. We don't really know the true capacity of this dryer. We think it'll do about 800 bushels an hour, drying 10 points or 10%, so from 25 to 15. But we don't know. So we're going to see how it holds up. Down the road, we would like to get another dryer, a bigger dryer, one that would maybe 3,000 to 4,000 bushels per hour at 10 points. So those are big honkers. But the way I like to look at it is I'd rather buy as big as we possibly can and then use it for less. So then we have room to grow into, because I feel like what we're farming now compared to what we may be farming in 30 years, I feel like expansion's kind of inevitable in that point. So I'd rather just kind of buy something once, because right now it's probably the cheapest a dryer will ever be in my life. Because in 30 years they're probably going to be like $36 million a piece. And right now they're like $300,000. So if we can make it work, we're going to try, but we're going to work with what we got for right now, because $300,000 is a lot of money.
I want to hit it too.
Hey, don't hurt it. Take this 42-foot bin, for example. It's 42 feet from that side to that side. It's got a false floor in it, floor unload, sweep on the inside, fan on the back. We built this bin in 2013. The whole bin, including the concrete, labor, everything, $43,000. The bin behind me is just off the 42-foot bin, which is hiding right over there. We have 2 bins identical to this one over at Kristen and Rusty's. We have soybeans in them. The floors are getting kind of bad, so we kind of thought, you know, it'd be kind of nice if we got new floors in those, the false floor, so that way we could actually have an unload sweep in there, then we wouldn't have to use the grain vac. It'd be a lot slicker. So we got 2 floors priced for 2 30-foot bins. Just the floors. $40,000. Back in 2013, we probably would have been better off just building another one of those. And then that would have been the equivalent of having 3 of the bins over at Kristen and Rusty's for the same price as fixing 2 floors and 2 60-year-old grain bins. So that's what I'm saying. When the dryer, I mean, like, this could honestly potentially be the cheapest we'll ever see it in our lifetime. So if we can make decisions down the road, if we have the capital to be able to do it, and we kind of have the plan in mind, just buy it big so we can step into those shoes, we have room to grow. Now, I think that's the way to go, but We haven't even talked to anybody about pricing your dryer. I don't even know if they're $300,000. They might be $400,000 or $8 million. As far as the farm economy is going right now, corn and soybean prices are pretty stinking good. Yields out in the field are also looking pretty good. So if we get good yields, good prices, it could potentially be a pretty good year. Now keep in mind, our inputs going into the crop that's currently growing out in the field right now are the highest they have ever been. Absolute 100% the highest we have ever paid in our farm's history for our inputs. So we may be selling at a high price with pretty good yields, but a good chunk of that is getting eaten up with these higher input costs. But I still think we look like we could be in the black this year, or on a decent margin. So we're optimistic and we're staying positive with it. Things have been going pretty well. Cooper did get the second cutting of grass bales done. He's got those out in the field. He's got to get them picked up yet. And he got his third alfalfa cutting done. We look in the soybean field behind us. This is down at DC's. This is where we started planting soybeans. So this is a 2.1 variety. We had the planter set a little shallow. You can see where we deepened it up. That's just the difference of coming out of the ground like 2 days earlier, maybe. You can see like halfway down is where we made the planter like half an inch deeper. So that's kind of cool. But these beans are really close to, pretty soon this whole field is going to turn yellow. It's already starting to turn in spots throughout. Once it turns yellow, then all the leaves are going to drop off, and then it'll be brown. It'll be drying down from that point, and we'll be rolling through with the combine. We do have a few loads of soybeans left to haul in. There's like 2.5 loads in each one of these bins. We just wanted to wait till 104-degree day with the grain vac to get in there and do them, and that hasn't came yet. So sounds like next week that'll be here, and that's when we'll get it done. We're out off the backside of the dryer right now, and this area we got our big dirt pile. This is kind of our excess pile. We've been thinning it out a little bit, fixing some areas in the yard and stuff. We got to get this spot leveled off and actually planted with some nice seed. This is going to be a continuation of Cooper's alfalfa grass field mix, whatever you want to call it, that we just redid a couple months ago, the new 7-acre part. But we're still working over here, and when we get a little rain and you come in through with the telehandler and you rut it up and stuff, it kind of makes more sense just to get everything done first before we get through here. But we're kind of getting into the old auger graveyard now. We got a few augers still sitting here. Actually, all of these are going to be leaving the farm in a couple weeks. There's going to be a consignment sale in town, so we're going to bring all of these in except for this one over here. This is a 10-inch auger. We can use this to unload some soybean bins and stuff, but otherwise this one, and there's 3 others over here, those are going to be leaving. We got the 13-inch 84-foot Westfield swing hopper. That one's going to be staying. We fill our bean bins with that. Then we got our backhoe conveyor one for unloading the bean bins. So just that 10-inch one's kind of more or less a backup, really, or maybe if we needed 2 augers at the same time. But otherwise, it's going to be weird not having augers here. I tell you what, you throw a drone up in the air and you look at the farm, it's weird. It's so naked feeling around here now. I don't really know what we're going to do with this area yet. We just want to get all the weeds knocked down, get it landscaped, basically get it flowing where water is going to get out of here. It'll dry out nicely. I'm thinking from right here, this is equal to the front of the garage over there. This will be grass behind me, and in front of me will be rock. So I have a nice area here. We can park vehicles and stuff, kind of get them out of the main driveway. And then this is where the leg used to be. I would like to get one of those automatic generators at some point. I think this would be a perfect place for it. I mean, this is like 12 feet deep. It's like a 12 foot by 12 foot cube. A lot of concrete here, so we can't move it anyway. We have our generator here. This runs over into the house, so we'd be able to have everything plugged in right here. Be nice and easy. Won't have weeds growing through it. We could have our LP tank and stuff here too. That way if we lose electricity, we'll just pop on. I'm starting to think like a 74-year-old, so you can definitely tell I've turned 25 because I'm starting to get a lot wiser now. Out in the Grove, our idea must have worked with Ron and his bulldozer. We had that sterile spot. There's like a half an acre where absolutely nothing was growing. When Ron fixed that ditch at the bottom right along the edge of the bean field, he pushed his extra dirt up here. We got new growth in it already. So we're gonna get this smoothed out. We gotta pick up roots and stuff out of it yet. We'll get it smoothed out. We'll be seeding it here just around Labor Day. It's kind of the optimal time to seed grass, at least from my YouTube PhD of watching grass people. That's what they tell me. We're gonna have to nuke some of this grass over here too, because that's not Kentucky bluegrass. That's just old pasture grass that grew in after I kind of smoothed it off when I worked on that side of the house. So we're gonna be planting Kentucky blue over here in a couple weeks. Ooh, boy. Cooper got his first cutting off the new alfalfa field. You can see it's still thickening up. Some spots are definitely way thicker than others. I forgot to ask him how many bales he got off it, but it looks a lot nicer getting it all evened up. It got tall quick, actually. In our soybean fields, we struggle with water hemp. That is the plant that is hard to kill, kind of a pain in the butt. On tabletop, on corn, our problem weed is this vine. I don't know what this one is. I know once you go in a few rows, especially on this end of the field, like right before you hit the end rows, for whatever reason, burr cucumber grows. I don't know if this is burr cucumber. It looks kind of like it, but yet it doesn't look like it. But it literally grows down this whole outer edge. It's just gonna keep climbing itself up. It's all wrapped up in the corn head. We really need to get out here and spray it with some 2,4-D, so that way it can die while it's still small here. But it's amazing. It'll just engulf these first 6-8 rows for a full half mile. So that's what's been going on the farm. We'll get this stuff picked up once it starts drying up here. We'll get this smoothed off. Before we know it, we're gonna be out in the field. We got a lot of work to do. We're gonna close right here with watching the creepy noise-making wind turbine.